Updates, we are expecting 38 students to join the room. We are currently 29 people in this room, let's wait for the others to join till 8 a.m. and we will start the program. Thank you. Attendance sa ato nga comment, duduwa to number 9. Thank you, Miles. Duwa ka 16. Update, 5 minutes till 8 a.m. Please ask those who are not yet here to join. Also, please prepare to open your cameras later for the attendance. Thank you. Georgette, ready na yung camera? Please open your cameras, everyone. We're about to start now. Please open your cameras, everyone. Jet, ko na picture, Jet.
Wala pa ka open. Tanan cam.
Where are the others?
Maka-capture na ko 10.
Okay, go, Jet.
3, 2, 1. Good na.
Okay na?
Yes.
Let us start. Good morning, everyone. And to all the students present in this meeting, I am Tina Colby, your host for today. And welcome to our third weekly meeting in human behavior and organization. Sadly, Mr. Penezuela cannot join us since it is, there's a problem in his connection. Run out sila ko, no? So, let's have the meeting without him na lang. To start, let us pray first, then we will play the webinar etiquette to be followed by the CAMSI briefer and the CAMSI hymn.
You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown. My feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Sovereign hand will be my guide. My feet may fail if fear surrounds me. Never fade, and you won't stop now. So I My soul rests in your embrace. Oh, I am yours, and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith would be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever want, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. And take me deeper than my feet can ever wander. My faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. College.
Let's get to know CAMSI first.
Before Carlos Hilado Memorial State College, there was
Negros Occidental School of Fisheries in Binalbagan in 1952.
Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades in Talisay in 1954.
Bacolod City National Trade School in Barangay Alihis, Bacolod City in 1968.
And Negros Occidental Provincial Community College within the grounds of Negros Occidental High School, Bacolod City in 1970.
In 1983, Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades, which later became Negros Occidental College of Arts and Trades, Bacolod City National Trade School, and Negros Occidental Provincial Community College, which found a home in Fortune Town, Barangay Estefania, Bacolod City, amalgamated into one state college known as Paglaong State College.
In 1994, Paglaong State College was renamed Carlos Hilado Memorial State College in honor of Congressman Carlos A. Hilado, who authored Republic Act 848, which created the Negros Occidental School of Arts and Trades.
In 2000, Negros Occidental School of Fisheries became part of the system of Carlos Hilado Memorial State College.
By virtue of Republic Act 11336, signed into law in 2019, Carlos Hilado Memorial State College is on a continuing journey towards becoming a state university in the province of Negros Occidental.
Our vision is to be a leading green institution of higher learning in the global community by 2030.
Our mark of distinction as an institution is GREEN, which stands for the following.
CAMSI stands for the principles of good governance.
CAMSI strives to become a research-oriented and extension-driven institution.
CAMSI seeks to champion education for sustainable development.
CAMSI wants to contribute to nation building and social transformation.
Thus, green.
Our mission? We are a green institution committed to empower the youth and lifelong learners who will contribute to nation building and global transformation through quality instruction,
Inclusive and creative teaching learning pedagogies,
relevant research,
social innovation,
dynamic partnership,
and active civic engagement.
in a conducive and fulfilling environment for students, faculty, staff, and partners.
Our fundamental beliefs that guide us as we go about our mission are found in our 5 core values of
Excellence, a commitment to give one's best and to do what is always right at all times.
compassion, a desire and willingness to help others in times of distress and suffering.
Environment, a conscious effort to promote love and care for the environment.
Love of country, the use of one's talent, knowledge, and skills to contribute to the sustainable development of the Philippines.
And service. One's life is dedicated to fulfill a sense of purpose and mission.
In short, excels.
Throughout one's educational journey and experience at Carlos Hilado Memorial State College, a CAMSIAN will be attributed as
A competent worker,
a compassionate being,
environmentally responsible,
a nation builder.
and an engaged citizen.
Green CAMSI excels, empowering citizens
And shaping dreams for a sustainable world.
Okay. But before we start, let's have a quick energizer. Para mabugtaw man mga kalag nyo da, basi tulog pa kamo. Jet, please play. Dimension. Ayun, sponsored by Cocomelon kami. So, kami nagmuno nagligad mazumba daw eh. So, mataging pili naman sa zumba. We decided to use that video, even though we are all grown up, to remind us of the childish side we have. Okay? Subon, do damo ta stress, do malipat na tang mag-chill. Diba? So much for that. At this point, let us watch a video in relation to our topic. Please play, Georgette.
What an intriguing group of individuals you are. To a psychologist. I've had the opportunity over the last couple of days of listening in on some of your conversations and watching you interact with each other. And I think it's fair to say already that there are 47 people in this audience at this moment displaying psychological symptoms I would like to discuss today. And I thought you might like to know who you are. But instead of pointing at you, which would be gratuitous and intrusive, I thought I would tell you a few facts and stories in which you may catch a glimpse of yourself. I'm in the field of research known as personality psychology, which is part of a larger personality science which spans the full spectrum from neurons to narratives. And what we try to do, in our own way, is to make sense of how each of us, each of you, is in certain respects like all other people, like some other people, and like no other person. Now, already you may be saying of yourself, I'm not intriguing. I am the 46th most boring person in the Western Hemisphere. Or you may say of yourself, I am intriguing, even if I am regarded by most people as a great thundering twit. But it is your self-diagnosed boringness and your inherent twittiness that makes me as a psychologist really fascinated by you. So let me explain why this is so. One of the most influential approaches in personality science is known as trait psychology, and it aligns you along 5 dimensions, which are normally distributed, that describe universally held aspects of difference between people. They spell out the acronym OCEAN. So O stands for open to experience versus those who are more closed. C stands for conscientiousness, in contrast to those with a more lackadaisical approach to life. E, extroversion, in contrast to more introverted people. A, agreeable individuals, in contrast to those decidedly not agreeable. And N, neurotic individuals, in contrast to those who are more stable. All of these dimensions have implications for our well-being, for how our life goes. And so we know that, for example, openness and conscientiousness are very good predictors of life success, but the open people achieve that success through being audacious and occasionally odd. The conscientious people achieve it through sticking to deadlines, to persevering, as well as having some passion. Extroversion and agreeableness are both conducive to working well with people. Extroverts, for example, I find intriguing with my classes. I sometimes give them a basic fact that might be revealing with respect to their personality. I tell them that it is virtually impossible for adults to lick the outside of their own elbow. Did you know that? Already, some of you have tried to lick the outside of your own elbow, but extroverts amongst you are probably those who have not only tried, but they have successfully licked the elbow of the person sitting next to them. Those are the extroverts. Let me deal in a bit more detail with extroversion because it's consequential and it's intriguing, and it helps us understand what I call our 3 natures. First, our biogenic nature, our neurophysiology. Second, our sociogenic or second nature, which has to do with the cultural and social aspects of our lives. And third, what makes you individually you, idiosyncratic, what I call your idiogenic nature. Let me explain. One of the things that characterizes extroverts is they need stimulation. And that stimulation can be achieved by finding things that are exciting. Loud noises, parties, social events here at TED. You see the extroverts forming a magnetic core and they all gather together, and I've seen you. The introverts are more likely to spend time in the quiet spaces up on the 2nd floor where they are able to reduce stimulation and may be misconstrued as being antisocial, but you're not necessarily antisocial. It may be that you simply realize that you do better when you have a chance to lower that level of stimulation. Sometimes it's an internal stimulant from your body. Caffeine, for example, works much better with extroverts than it does introverts. When extroverts come into the office at 9 o'clock in the morning and say, I really need a cup of coffee, they're not kidding. They really do. Introverts do not do as well, particularly if the tasks they're engaged in, and they add some coffee. If those tasks are speeded and if they're quantitative, introverts may give the appearance of not being particularly quantitative, but it's a misconstrual. So here are the consequences that are really quite intriguing. We're not always what we seem to be, And that takes me to my next point. I should say, before getting to this, something about sexual intercourse. Although I may not have time, and so if you would like me to, yes, you would? Okay. There are studies done on the frequency with which individuals engage in the conjugal act, as broken down by male, female, introvert, extrovert. So I ask you, how many times per minute? Oh, I'm sorry, that was a rat study. How many times per month do introverted men engage in the act? 3.0. Extroverted men, more or less? Yes, more. 5.5, almost twice as much. Introverted women, 3.1. Extroverted women, frankly, speaking as an introverted male, which I will explain later, they are heroic. 7.5, they not only handle all the male extroverts, they pick up a few introverts as well. We communicate differently, extroverts and introverts. Extroverts, when they interact, want to have lots of social encounter punctuated by closeness. They like to stand close for comfortable communication. They like to have a lot of eye contact or mutual gaze. We found in some research that they use more diminutive terms when they meet somebody. So when an extrovert meets Charles, it rapidly becomes Charlie, and then Chuck, and then Chuckles baby. Whereas for introverts, it remains Charles until he is given a pass to be more intimate by the person he's talking to. We speak differently. Extroverts prefer black and white, concrete, simple language. Introverts prefer, and I must again tell you, I am as extreme an introvert as you could possibly imagine. We speak differently. We prefer contextually complex, contingent, weasel word sentences, more or less, as it were. Not to find a point upon it, like that. When we talk, we sometimes talk past each other. I had a consulting contract I shared with a colleague who is different from me as two people can possibly be. First, his name is Tom. Mine isn't. Secondly, he's 6'5". I have a tendency not to be. And thirdly, he's as extroverted a person as you could find. I am seriously introverted. I overload so much I can't even have a cup of coffee after 3 in the afternoon, and it's back to sleep in the evening. We had seconded to this project a fellow called Michael. And Michael almost brought the project to a crashing halt. The person
Okay, so we already have the video. We will now proceed to our picture analysis. We have here 10 pictures. Let's start with first picture. Okay. Mr. Tubong, would you like to analyze the first picture?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Batayon lang ko.
Yes, loud and clear.
So, the first picture literally shows the big 5 personality traits. We have the openness. It indicates how open-minded a person is. A person with a high level of openness to experience, and a personality test enjoys trying new things. They are imaginative, curious, and open-minded. The conscientiousness include high levels of thoughtfulness good impulse, corrected behaviors. People tend to be organized and mindful. They plan ahead, think about how their behavior affects others, and are mindful of deadlines. Extraversion, it is characterized by sociability, talkativeness, assertiveness, and amounts of emotional expressiveness. People who are high in extraversion are outgoing and tend to gain energy in social situations. Agreeableness includes attributes such as trust, kindness, affection, other social behaviors. People who are high in agreeableness tend to more confident. And then lastly, the neuroticism, a trait characterized by sadness, moodiness, and emotional instability. Individuals tend to experience mood swings, anxiety, irritability, and sadness. Those low in this trait tend to be more stable and emotionally resilient. That would be my short analysis about the picture. Thank
Mr.
you.
Tubong, which of these 5 personality traits you think you are with this?
Sir,
Which of these 5 you belong?
um, conscientiousness, sir.
Are you conscious? Are you conscious?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right, continue.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Mr. Tubong. Now for the second picture, Ms. Balyarta, would you try to analyze, please?
Good morning. So, based on the video presentation we have watched earlier, the phrase "we communicate differently" was highlighted. And as we can see in the picture above, these differences are based on the two general types of personality that a person possess. So they can either possess extraversion or introversion. They can either be an extrovert, which is sociable, talkative, and energized by social interaction and potentially assertive, or they can either be an introvert who is reserved, tentative, drained by social interaction, and energized by being alone. So that would be all.
Thank you, Ms. Balyarta. Let's move on to the third picture. Ms. Abarte, would you like to analyze, please?
So, good morning everyone. Batian lang ko.
Yes.
Okay, so the third picture shows us the different person with different gestures or profession. So it tells us that in a certain group of people, each individual has its own personality. So like that sa picture, lain-lain sila personality. So and each that personality has its own values and capability to do their task. So in order to achieve their personal goal in life or either the goal of the organization where they belong. Thank you so much.
Would that be all, Ms. Abarte? Okay, for the next picture, let's have Aligin Christine. Miss Aligin.
Okay, so for the next picture, it shows the job satisfaction and having a job satisfaction. It includes challenges that you face in your workplace, having a positive attitude, a balanced life, a sense of purpose, knowing your options, self-awareness, and variety. So that's all.
Thank you, Christine. Let's move on to the next picture. Let's have Mr. Tolentino, Joval.
Um, I'm sorry, pero di niya ako picture. Sa iceberg ko,
Ano?
Tawa ko sa iyo mo. Sa'yo ko lang kita. Ako lang daw ang gumagamit.
Is there a problem?
supposed to be ang iceberg theory akon i-analyze.
Juval, go ahead with the analysis of the picture. You are being asked to please analyze in your own understanding. What is this picture?
Ernest, sir. Okay, as with an iceberg, only its tip is visible, while the bulk below the water surface is invisible. Those at the tip are known as explicit knowledge, meaning their knowledge in isolation. They only exist in our heads, on books, journals, documents, and they can be easily found and seen. While on the other hand, those below the surface are the unconscious tacit knowledge that lives in interaction, people, and practices, meaning it is the knowledge that's about on how we communicate or how we gain this information based on our interaction. This knowledge is invisible, inaccessible, and easily overlooked, unlike sa explicit knowledge. These are also the things that people don't necessarily know that they know, or it is known as the unknown knowns. And this is very often the deep lying technical knowledge and mastery that is of real value to others. One interesting point is that tacit knowledge can become explicit once we communicate and socialize more. As our society evolves and our ability to put into words our thinking and thoughts, more of our tacit knowledge becomes explicit. That would be my analysis for this picture, and thank you.
Thank you, Joel. For the next picture, please. Who would like to try?
Good morning, everyone. Bation lang ko.
Yes, girl, loud and clear.
The picture has a brain in the center, which means that it acts as the command center of one's body. It also means that the mind is open to every comments or suggestions from other people. It also searches for new ideas that it could implement. The mind also finds more solutions in every problem. That's all.
Thank you. Next picture. Who would like to try to analyze? Ms. Romero would like to analyze the picture, please.
Okay. So picture shows about the different personalities, characteristics, or behaviors of individuals. If may are a genius, they may are an ignorant. Kung may hardworking, may are an lazy. So this also reminds.
Closer to the microphone, Romero. Romero, come closer to your microphone.
So again, this picture shows about different personalities or characteristics or behaviors of an individual. So if may are genius, may ignorant man, then
and organizational commitment. It starts here with a job satisfaction, which refers to how much an employee enjoys their work or like their job. Next was a managerial support factor that tackles about the amount of leadership support that an employee can get from its superiors. Then there's this role stress and role ambiguity. This stress occurs to the employees in a workplace where misconception and conflicting requests are common. We also have empowerment factor that refers to motivating and energizing employees. Lastly, we have job insecurity and employability, which is common to contractual workers who's a bit insecure to those who have permanent works. And that's it for analyzing this picture. Good morning.
Thank you, Jov. For the last picture, let's have Mr. Maprangala.
Good morning, everyone. Looking at the picture, we can see two types of values, which is the instrumental values and terminal values. Both are presented in the form of gears, and they are attached to each other, which I believe indicates that they are related or working with each other to achieve a goal. And lastly, the terminal values is a bigger gear than the instrumental values, which gives me a hunch that terminal is more important or must be put first more than the instrumental values. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the participation. And at this juncture, let's have Ms. Dulman to explain the objectives for today's discussion.
So good morning again, everyone. So after completing the chapter, the students or us shall be able to know and define the personality in the workplace, describe the big five personality traits and Myers-Briggs type indicator in the work setting. We are also able to explain the other personality traits in the workplace, identify types of abilities that are used to categorize performers in the organization, and discuss attitudes, its formation, and how to change it. We are also able to name the two important attitudes in the workplace, differentiate terminal from instrumental values, and identify different values found across culture.
Thank you, Ms. Dulman. Now let me formally introduce Module 3, Personality, Ability, Attitudes, and Values. Introduction. Every workplace behavior cannot be understood without considering the concepts of personality, ability, attitudes, and values. Personality, ability, and attitudes and values are important individual characteristics that can influence work performance. They are also important because the concept for predicting and changing behavior in the organization settings. Managers who overlook these variables do themselves, their employees, and their organization a disservice. When we say overlook, it means they have skipped that matter. So it may cause them some harm to those who are under them and to all the factors that are affected by these personalities. Now, to give us more thorough explanation, let us have our assigned reporters to elaborate each characteristics.
But Breaker, Colby,
Yes,
Colby
sir.
Breaker, there's a lot of people at your back talking, and you can hear their voice. Sorry for that.
I'm sorry, sir. Then I'm good, sir.
Thank you. Please proceed.
So good morning again, everyone. So to begin, we are going to discuss first about personality. And under personality, we are able to know what are the big five personality traits, Myers-Briggs type indicator, and what are the other personality traits in the workplace. So let us define first what is personality. So personality encompasses the relatively stable feelings, thoughts, and behavioral patterns that have been formed significantly by genetic and environmental factors, which gives an individual his identity. An individual's personality differentiates him from other people. So most aspects of personality formation, development, and expressions are not completely understood. So at its most basic, personality is the characteristic pattern that makes a person unique because our personality differentiates us from other people. Moving on, most experts agree that personality is a product of both nature and nurture. So nature means the genetic or hereditary origins of a person. So meaning, ang personality ko no is namamana. Whereas nurture consists of the person's socialization, life experiences, and other forms of interactions in the organization such as family, relationships, social class, and culture. So personality or also varies sa way sa kung paano ka ginpadako and at the same time your environment. Next jet please. So what are the big 5 personality traits? First is conscientiousness, second, agreeableness, third, neuroticism, 4, openness, 5, extraversion. So we are going to define this one by one. Next jet, please. So first is conscientiousness. This refers to the number of goals on which a person focuses. It is also the one personality traits that consistency predicts how high a person's job performance will be. So if a person is scoring high in these traits, he or she has a high level of self-discipline. These individuals prefer to follow plan rather than act spontaneously. And conscientious people have higher levels of motivation to perform, higher retention, higher attendance, and higher level of safety performance at work. One's conscientiousness is associated to career success and being satisfied with one's career over time. So that is why conscientiousness is the trait most valued by many organizations because who possesses this trait have a strong desire to complete a task-related goal. And this is a good trait to possess for entrepreneurs because many highly conscientious people are expected to start their own business compared to those who are not conscientious, and their firms have longer survival rates. Next jet, please. Second is agreeableness. Agreeableness is the person's ability to get along with others. It causes a person to be nice, tolerant, sensitive, trusting, kind, and warm. Agreeable people may be a valuable team player and may be effective leaders because they create a fair environment when they are in leadership position. However, as a disadvantage, agreeable people are less expected to engage in constructive and change-oriented communication. Agreeable people will likely avoid generating conflict and missing an opportunity for constructive change. So generally, agreeable people have an optimistic view of human nature. They tend to help others at work consistently. And if you possesses this trait, you are less likely to get revenge when other people treat you wrongly. But on the other side, people who are not agreeable are shown to quit their job unexpectedly, perhaps because they cannot maintain good interpersonal relationship with others. Next jet. The third one is neuroticism. It refers to the degree to which a person is anxious, irritable, aggressive, temperamental, and moody. People very high in neuroticism experience a number of problems at work. They tend to experience relationship difficulties, and being high in neuroticism seems to be harmful to one's career as they have levels of career success. And if they achieve managerial jobs, they tend to create an unfair climate at work. So basically, people who possess these traits are likely to have emotional adjustment problems and experience stress and depression habitual basis. They also tend to be habitually unhappy in their job, but but those low in this trait tend to be more stable and emotionally resilient. Next, Jet. The fourth one is openness. This mirrors a person's rigidity of beliefs and range of interest. People with high levels of openness are original, intellectual, creative, and open to new ideas. They are highly motivated to study new skills, and they do well in training settings. They also have an advantage when they enter into a new organization. Their open mindedness leads them to search for a lot of information and feedback about how they are performing. They are quick to make adjustments to their new job. So, people high in openness are flexible and willing to learn new ideas. Open people are highly adaptable to change, and teams that experience unforeseen changes in this task do well if they are populated with people high in openness. And to those people who are low in openness, they are also more likely to start their own business. Next, and the last is extraversion. Reflects on individual's comfort level with relationship. So under extraversion, we have extroverts and introverts. So extroverts tends to be outgoing, talkative, and sociable. So interestingly, extroverts are also fun to be happier at work, which may be because of relationships they built with people around them in their relative ease in adjusting to a new job. So these people are effective in jobs involving sales and marketing. They are also likely to be valuable as managers, and they show inspirational leadership behaviors. So introverts, on the other hand, are less sociable, talkative, and assertive. They are more reluctant to begin new relationships. Next, please. So next is we're going to tackle about the Myers-Briggs type indicator. So Myers-Briggs type indicator, unlike the Big Five, which appraise traits, MBTI measures types. It classifies people as one of 16 types, and MBTI people are grouped according to 4 dimensions based on how a person is classified on these 4 dimensions. It is possible to talk about 16 unique personality. So let us also give you a brief history about Myers-Briggs type indicator. So in 1943, MBTI was developed by a mother-daughter team of Isabel Myers and Catherine Cook Briggs. At the time, the intention was to help World War II veterans in discovering the occupation that would fit their personality. One distinguishing characteristic of this test is that it explicitly designed for learning and not for employee selection purposes rather. Next, Jet. So through MBTI, 16 types of personality could be created by combining the 4 different scales below. So the first on the list is extraversion, introversion. The extraversion-introversion dichotomy is a way to describe how people respond and interact with the world around them. Extroverts tend to be action-oriented, enjoy more regular sociable interaction, and feel keyed up after spending time with other people. Introverts, on the other side, are thought-oriented, enjoy deep and momentous social interaction, and feel revitalized after spending time alone. All people exhibit extroversion and introversion to some extent. So we have already tackled this one in the previous slide. Generally, these terms are quite common or familiar to all of us. But the way in which they are applied here varies a bit different from their popular usage. So perhaps there would be a time that you would feel more comfortable being with yourself alone, and the next time you feel having some time with other people. But most tend to have a general liking for one or the other. Next, Jet. The second is sensing intuition. This scale engages in looking at how people collect information from the world around them. According to MBTI, people are likely to be prevailing in one area or another. People who choose sensing are likely to apply more attention to reality, mostly to what they can discover from their own senses. They tend to center on facts and details and take pleasure in getting practical experience. Those who favor intuition pay extra attention to things like patterns and impression. They like thinking about possibilities, visualizing the future, and abstract theories. So you are sensing, you use sensing and intuition rather to receive and process new information either by using your five senses or in a more abstract ways. So basically, someone who is strong in sensing lives in the now and enjoys facts, while being intuitive means you try and find deeper meaning in the things. Next, Jet. The third one is thinking and feeling. This scale concentrates on how people formulate decisions depending on the information that they collected from their sensing or intuition function. People who desire thinking set a greater accent on facts and objective data. They tend to be consistent, rational, and impersonal when weighing a decision. Those who prefer feeling are more expected to consider people and emotions when concluding. So basically, this preference pairs refers to how you make decisions either by objective logic, in which a person is ruled by their head instead of their heart, or by subjective feeling based on principles and values in which a person is ruled by their heart instead of their head. The fourth one is judging and perceiving. The final scale involves how people deal with the outside world. Those who lean to judging favor structure and firm decision. People who lean to perceiving are more open, flexible, and adaptable. So perceivers want things open-ended, while if you are the type of people who focuses on making decisions, you are a preference for judging because you like things decided. And for those people who tend to focus on taking information, prefer perceiving because they stay open to a final decision in order to get more information. Next, Jet. So these two tendencies interact with the other scale. Remember, all people at least spend some time extroverting and judging perceiving scale aids illustrate whether a person is an extrovert when taking in new information like sensing and intuiting, or when he is making decision like thinking and feeling. Next, Jet, please. Next is we are going to tackle about the other personality traits in the workplace. Here we are going to know what is proactive personality, Machiavellianism, risk propensity, and creativity. Next, Jet. So for proactive personality, a person's preference to fix what is supposed as erroneous, change the status quo, and apply initiative to solve problems. Proactive people take action to start significant change, get rid of the obstacles they encounter along the way. And they are more successful over the course of their careers because they use initiative and obtain greater understanding of the politics within the organization. Proactive people are precious assets to their companies because they have higher levels of performance. Proactive people are eager to learn and engage in many development activities to improve themselves. So basically, proactive personality describes people who recognize opportunities, take initiative and action, and persevere until a meaningful change takes place. So people with strong proactive personality have a disposition toward taking intentional action to influence their situation and their environment. Next, Jet. The second is Machiavellianism. It is a behavior directed toward attaining power and controlling of others. Each person has, excuse me, has own degree of Machiavellianism. People who are more Machiavellian are rational, non-emotional, willing to accomplish their personal goals in life, place less concern on loyalty and friendship, and enjoy manipulating the behavior of other individuals. On the other side, people that are less Machiavellian or emotional, not willing to lie to succeed, give importance to loyalty and friendship, and are not happy in manipulating others. So, in short, this personality trait is centered on manipulativeness, callousness, and indifference that involves a cold, calculating view and limit empathy for others, both on cognitive and emotional level. Next, Jet. The third one is risk propensity. It is the degree of willingness of a person to take chances and create risky decisions. A manager with high risk propensity is willing to experiment with new ideas and may venture with new products. He could be a catalyst for innovation or may fail the organization if the risky risky propensity may lead the organization into stagnation or make the organization successful in turbulent times through sustaining stability and calm. Therefore, the organization's environment is an important determinant of the probable results of risk propensity. And risk propensity is also called risk-taking tendency. And just to make it short, this trait is defined as an individual's tendency towards taking or avoiding risk. Next, Jet. So, the last one is creativity. So creativity involves the ability to break away from the habit-bound way of thinking and generating novel and useful ideas. It produces innovations, which is the lifeblood of a growing number of successful organizations. It is a personality trait that must be promoted and expanded inside any organization by offering employee opportunity and freedom to think unconventionally. So creativity is the ability to make new things or think of new ideas. This personality trait can be learned and influenced greatly by many different aspects of life. Next, Jet. So before we proceed with the next report, we will have first a quick refresher regarding our discussion. So everyone is encouraged to participate. You can just unmute your microphone if you know the answer. So the first one is, this refers to the degree to which a person is anxious, irritable, aggressive, temperamental, and moody. So what is this? So anyone can answer.
Ako ulit.
Sige, Val, ano?
Neuroticism.
Congratulations, that's correct.
Lee, excuse me.
Yes, Tin.
Sir Pensueña would like to add some more information about your report.
Ay, okay, go. Sorry.
Sir Pensueña, you can...
Okay. Hakolby, please advise the presenter to finish her presentation. If she's done, then I'm going to come in and present my own contributions to the members of the class. Thank you, Hakolby. Proceed, please.
Okay, so moving forward, we have here the last quick refresher. So this is developed by Isabel Myers and Catherine Briggs. So anyone know what is this?
Myers-Briggs.
Anyone? Yes, Val, correct. Okay na, sir. Done ako, sir.
All right, congratulations. Very good presentation. You can be a flight steward with your voice. If not to be a flight steward, you can be a DJ in one of the best radio station, FM station here in the city of Bacolod. Good luck to your work. Anyway, thank you very much for the presentations of the first presenter. Still, we are on the topic about personality. Would you believe that personality is very important? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Hakolbe, and please open your microphone, Hakolbe, and also
Yes,
the
sir.
moderator to please open.
Yes, sir. I am the
Hakolbe.
moderator, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And also, Dulman, please open your microphone and try to interact with me every time that I ask a question, please, so that as if that I'm just talking to a person in front of me. Did I make myself clear?
Okay, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is why personality is very, very important. There are some people that they are not click with each other because of personality issues. It might could be that they are not at the same likes. Am I correct? It might could be that
Yes,
they
sir.
are not at the same colors that they like. It might could be that they are not at the same kind of music that they would like to listen.
Yes, sir. We cannot hear you, sir.
Dulman, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We
Very
can,
good.
we can
Yes,
hear you
sir.
now, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry for the connectivity problems I'm facing right now, but the show must go on. Please hold on. So as I said, it might be that there are misunderstanding or we are not click with each other because in terms of personality, in terms of behavior, in terms of characteristics, because in terms of likes, right, or preferences.
Yes.
These are some of the bases that we are not good with each other, we're not in click because of the issue about personality. So an individual personality refers to his or her appearance, your characteristics, your attitude, or your mindset, and even your behavior towards others. Okay, so personality grooms an individual and helps him make a mark of his or her own. Individuals need to have a style of their own for others to follow them. Do not blindly copy others. You need to set up an example for people around. Personality not only makes you look good and presentable, but also helps you face the world with a smile. So you need to smile. In fact, smile is the best therapy. No? So personality goes also a long way in reducing stress and conflicts. Do you believe in that?
Yes, sir.
It also encourages individuals to look at the brighter sides of life because you have good personality, right? You are not an pessimistic type of a person, but rather you are a kind of person that is considered to be optimistic. Okay? Face even the worst situations with a smile. Trust me, flashing your trillion pesos, millions of pesos with a smile will not only melt half of your problems, but also evaporate your stress and worries. There is no point grieving over minor issues and problems because you wear your smile. So we have to smile. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Personality helps you to develop a positive attitude in life. Do you believe in that?
Yes, sir.
An individual with a negative attitude finds a problem in every situation. Rather than grieving and criticizing people around, analyze the whole situations and try to find an appropriate solutions for the same. Worse. Correct?
Yes, sir.
It is very essential for individuals to behave well with people around. Being polite with others will not only make you popular among other people, but also earn you respect and pride. You can demand respect. Do you believe in that?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with me if I say you don't demand respect? I don't demand respect from anyone, right? By
Yes, sir.
being rude with personality plays an important role in developing not only your outer but also your inner self. Human being is a crucial animal. One needs people around. We grow, we educate ourselves, we make ourselves competitive, we make ourselves very exemplary, we make ourselves very excited because of others. We cannot live alone. We need to grow with others. We need to educate to other people. An individual needs to have that magnetic power which attracts people towards him. You need to have that charisma, right? And
Yes,
that
sir.
charisma must starts in you. Personality development helps you gain recognitions and acceptance from the society as well as people around. Personality plays an essential role not only in an individual's professional but also to our personal lives. It makes an individual disciplined. It makes an individual to be honored. It makes an individual to practice professionalism, courtesy, okay, and the practice of the so-called professionalism, being punctual, being an asset to his or her organization. Okay, an indisciplined individual finds it difficult to survive in the long run. If you don't know how to discipline yourself, there is no room for you for such improvement, and there will be no companies that will learn to like you. We don't need magna cum laude graduates to be from part of the organization. We do not need summa cum laude graduates to be from part of the organization. We don't need cum laude graduates to be from part of our organization. What organizations wants are the personality that talks about the cat attitude, characteristics, and personality of an individual. So personality teaches you to respect not only your boss and fellow workers, but also family members, your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, and even your teachers and your students, okay, as well as your classmates. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, take note of this. Never make fun of anyone at your workplace. Kay sungi na siya, utuyan takadlaw. Kay may dugo na siya nga kurokokok. Kag ang panghambal niya, do hindi amo sa normal nga klase sang lalaki. Although nga kadako sang lawas siya. Pero ang tinos ng tingog do babae. Utuyan ta siya kadlaw. O kung may nakadusmo da nga tigulang. Utuyan ta kadlaw. Kay nakadusmo ang tigulang. Did you get it? We do not
Yes, sir.
observe professionalism at all. Avoid criticizing and making fun of your fellow workers. I repeat, avoid criticizing and making fun of your fellow workers. Did you get it? Did you
Yes,
understand?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did I make sense to my presentation?
Yes, of course, sir.
Very good. One should never carry his or her attitude or personal grudges to work, because the one that will greatly affected for that is the organizations that we're connected at. Remember that when we are to be part of organizations, we are expected to be an engaged employee, and that therefore we are going to attain and achieve the goals of the organization as a whole, not as an individual. Office is not a place where you can be rude to others just because you had a fight with your friend last night, or you have a misunderstanding with your boyfriend last night, or you just had a breakup with your boyfriend last night, then your performance as an employee will be affected? No way. Remember that we are all totally dependent from the organization that we are connected at. Remember that we are receiving the salaries and wages, the benefits and the incentives, right, from the organizations that we're connected at. Remember that the salaries that we are receiving sustains the needs of our family. That's the reason why we can afford to buy what we wanted to buy. We can afford to give what we wanted to give to our parents, such as for the maintenance of their medicines and such, among others. Did you get me?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So personality sessions helps you differentiate between your personal as well as your professional life. 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you're about to prepare yourself for another ladder that you're going to climb and another challenge that you are going to encounter in your life. And that is for you to be able to prepare yourself to take up your your examinations or your board exam in order for you to become a CPA. Do not just be contented to be a CPA. Learn to go back again in school. Equip yourself. Make sure that you are to be competitive. Make sure that you are to be really productive. Okay? Make sure that you are competitive, that you are also to enroll in the Master in Business Administrations program right after attaining that. Okay? Try to reach up again another highest educational qualifications that you would like to for you to enroll in Doctor in Business Administration in the near time. Are you considering this plan into your life? This is your professional life. Are you?
Somewhat, sir.
Very good. But it's not only somewhat, but this could be one of your goal that you are going to attain to, because nowadays, if you are to be connected in any agencies of the government, qualification is a requirement. You will never to be able to be promoted into higher position if you are not academically competent. So if I say academically competent, you need to be a master's degree holder. Is that clear? So that you can also receive higher pay of your compensation, because in management, promotion means higher pay of compensation to receive. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Is it very essential to keep a balance between the lives to lead a peaceful and stress-free life? Okay? So personality also helps an individual to inculcate positive qualities like punctuality, flexible attitude, willingness to learn, friendly nature, eagerness to help others, and so on. Do you have this kind of attitude?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Are you willing to learn?
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Are you friendly?
Yes, sir.
Are
Yes,
you
sir.
do you have the eagerness to help others?
Yes, sir. Of course, sir.
Very good. So never hesitate to share information with others. Always reach office on time. Some people have a tendency to work late. Late sittings not only increase your stress level, but also spoil your personal life. Sitting till late at the office indicates that an individual is extremely poor in time management skills. Do you understand? Do we want to be poor in time management? We should know how to budget our time. We should know how to come up with work-life balance. Can you say it? Work-life balance.
Work-life balance.
Very good. Personality development helps you develop an impressive personality and makes you stand apart from the rest. Remember that. Having good personality also plays an essential role in improving one's communication skills. Like you two people, you are very good in your communication skills. Your language, your choice of words, your grammar, your pronunciation, your intonations is a skill. And I would like to congratulate you for that. That's why I'm saying a while ago, si Dulman pwede get to flight stewards. That's the kind of voice that flight stewards is in need of. You can apply as to Philippine Airlines. You can apply to Cebu Pacific or to whatever. Or at the same time, being a student, okay, right now it's summertime, okay, if you're going to develop your voice, okay, try to apply to any FM station in the city of Bacolod. It might could be that they are needing a voice like that. Is that clear?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Very good.
Yes,
Individuals
sir.
ought to master the art of expressing their thoughts and feelings in the most desired way. Personality makes you very confident individual who is appreciated and respected wherever he or she goes. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Did I make myself clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Does it adds up to your topic on the topic about personality?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you learn something?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. That ends my contributions on topic about personality.
Chag mo lang umisa, hindi na sa malang
Thank you,
lang.
sir.
Di na space mo dalo. Dalo ko gwapo si dalo.
Luwal, pwede mo
Wala. Wala.
Luwal, pwede ka ka-mute, Danay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Penesuena, for that additional knowledge. And for the next part, let's have Miss Gurley to elaborate the first part of ability, which is mental ability.
Hello, good morning. Batian lang ko.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now let us proceed to the ability. So ability has 4 types. It is mental ability, emotional intelligence, tacit knowledge, and physical ability. Next slide, Jet. Okay, so first, before we're going to enumerate the 4 types of ability, let us first define what is ability. So, ability is a person's talent to perform a mental or physical task. And the ability includes both natural aptitudes and the learned capabilities needed to productively finish a task. So, ability has 2 capabilities. The number 1 is the aptitude. So, aptitude are the natural skills, and these are learned specific tasks speedily. So, the aptitude helps the employee to learn the specific task speedily. And the number 2 is the learned capabilities. The learned capabilities are a person currently has, or the knowledge and skills that a person currently has, and it will diminish over time if it will not be in use. Next slide, please. So, let us proceed to the first ability, which is the mental ability. So, mental ability is also known as intelligence. It is a better predictor of training proficiency and job success when selecting candidates for a position. Mental ability is the acquisition and application of knowledge in solving problems. So there are several types of mental abilities. Exactly, there are 5 of them, and the first one is the verbal ability. So verbal ability is the ability to understand and express oral and written communication quickly and accurately. And under verbal ability, there are also 2 underlying abilities. And the first one is the oral comprehension. The oral comprehension defines as ability of a person to understand spoken words and sentences. For example, these are the oral orders made by the manager or the high position than the other employee. So that is oral comprehension. And number 2 is the written comprehension. as the name itself written, it is the ability of the person to understand written words and sentences, just like letters and memos. Next. So the second under mental ability is the quantitative ability. Quantitative ability, it refers to the two types of mathematical abilities. The two types, number one is the numerical aptitude, which is focuses on basic mathematic operations quickly and accurately. So the basic mathematic operations such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And the number two is the numeric reasoning, or it is applicable in analyzing logical relationships and underlying principles such as problem solving. The next one, the third mental ability is the reasoning ability. So the reasoning ability is ability of a person to analyze information and make valid judgment based on insight, rules, and logic. Under reasoning ability, there are four more underlying abilities, and these are problem sensitivity, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and originality. So the first one under reasoning ability, which is the problem sensitivity, it is the ability to sense that there is a problem at present or likely to be one in the future. So this ability is enable a person to predict or know possible problem that will occur. The number two is the deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is the ability to draw a conclusion or make a choice that logically follows from existing assumptions and data. Number three is the inductive reasoning. It is the ability to identify after observing specific cases or instances the general rules that govern a process or that explain an outcome. So, to further understand deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning, I have here an example. So, the deductive reasoning example is all of our snowstorms come from the north. It's starting to snow. Therefore, the storm is coming from the north. So, there in the example, the conclusion is only made by the existing assumptions and data that was recorded. And in the inductive reasoning example, most of our snowstorms come from the north. It is starting to snow. This storm must be coming from the north. So in the inductive reasoning, there are more variables than deductive reasoning. So the one which is most likely to happen, dito sila ga-base ang ilang conclusion. And then the last one, under reasoning ability, is the originality. Originality is the ability to develop clever and novel ways to solve problem. Not only they are basing on what is recorded, but also their minds are flexible enough to think more possibilities on how to solve the problem. So next is the spatial ability. The spatial ability, it is the ability to link visual and mental representation and manipulation of objects in space. So under spatial ability, it has two types, to be precise, spatial orientation and visualization. So what is spatial orientation? It is having good understanding of where one is relative to the other things in the environment. A person with high spatial orientation would have no trouble finding his way back where he came from, even without a map or without the help of anyone. So here in spatial orientation, you have a good understanding so that you are reasonable enough on doing your work without even the help of the others. So number two is visualization. It is the ability to imagine a three-dimensional forms in space and to be able to manipulate them mentally. A person has high visualization if he can picture in his mind a room would look like and the furniture inside it
were rearranged. So here in visualization, for example, we are decorating our room. So, and the picture in our mind, yabutang ta kung diin ta ibutang ang table, ang wardrobe, ang shoe rack. So that is an example of visualization. So the next one, next jet. So this is the last one under mental ability, which is perceptual ability. It is the ability to perceive, understand, recall patterns of information. Under this ability are speed and flexibility, closure, and perceptual speed. So the first one under perceptual ability is the speed and flexibility. Closure is the ability to pick out a pattern of information quickly in the presence of distracting information, even without all the information present. So here in speed and flexibility, a person is able to know or to solve a puzzle without even completing it. Like for example, nagka-puzzle ka sang bunny, and then may ara ka na sang tail sang bunny, may ara ka na sang tsura sang bunny. Even without nga hindi pa siya complete nga puzzle, you can still picture out nga bunny na siyang imo gina-puzzle. Like is na siya ang example. So number 2 is perceptual speed. It is the ability to examine and compare numbers, letters, and objects quickly. So best example sa perceptual speed is like ang game nga compare the difference and how kung gaano ka kadasig mag-compare sang difference between the two objects, amo man na kadasig ang imo perceptual speed. Next. So after the mental ability, we have the emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, or EI, plays a significant role in behavior in organizations. It is handling of relationship interaction with others. And under this EI, it has 4 basic components, namely, number 1, it is the ability to recognize and regulate your own emotion. Like for example, is to hold back our temper in check. So if you're able to hold back your anger, it can help to build a more continuous harmony in the organization. Number 2 is the ability to recognize and influence others' emotion. Example is the ability to make them enthusiastic about our ideas. So in number 2, for example, if you have a friend who is sad, you can influence his or her emotions by your optimism to enlighten his or her mood or emotions. Number 3 is the self-motivation. It is the ability to motivate oneself to work long hours and resist the temptation to give up. So here in self-motivation, you are reminding yourself that what you are doing is for your own good and for your own future. And number 4 is the ability to perform effective, longer relationship with others. Here in the number 4, you are effective in handling relationship. That's why you have a prolonged or long-term relationship with others. Next, please. So, however, extensive research on emotional intelligence suggests that more appropriate model of this kind of intelligence include the following factors instead. So, ang amo to nga factors or components were studied more, and amo na siya ang na-come up nila sa research nila. Number 1 is the appraisal and expression of emotions in oneself. An individual's ability to understand his or her emotions and to express this naturally. Number 2, appraisal and recognition of emotions in others. It is the ability to perceive and understand others' emotion.
Number three, regulation of emotions in oneself. It is the ability to regulate one's own emotion. And number four, use of emotions to facilitate performance. The ability to use emotions by affecting them toward constructive activities and improve performance. Example is by encouraging oneself to do better. Just like lang na isang four basic components pero mas define lang nila more and specific. That's all in mental and emotional intelligence. So before we're going to proceed on the next reporter, we have a quick refresher about the topic that I discussed. So this is the number one. It refers to the two types of mathematical abilities. So whoever wants to answer can unmute their mic and tell me the answer. Okay.
Who would like to take the lead?
Quantitative.
Yes, quantitative, correct. Thank you. And number two. Okay, this is the number two. It is an ability to motivate oneself to do work long hours or resist the temptation to give up. So who can
Ako,
answer?
girl.
Yes, Milana?
Self-motivation.
Yes, self-motivation, correct. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we proceed, Sir Peniswenya, would you like to add more information and knowledge to the topic?
Proceed to the another presentation, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Let's proceed to the next.
Good morning, everyone.
Go on.
Pati on lang ko?
Yes, girl.
Okay. So today I will have a brief explanation about the last two types of ability, which are the tacit knowledge and the physical ability. So tacit knowledge. It is also called as informal knowledge. It is unwritten, unspoken, and hidden vast storehouse of work-related practical know-how that employees acquire based on his or her emotions, experience, insights, intuition, observations, and internalized information. Successful employees learned how an organization operates, the norms of work, teams, and the values of an organization culture. So Polanyi, on 1958, defined tacit knowledge by the phrase, "we know more than what we can tell." So it is the notion that people cannot always verbalize how they do some things, but they know how to do it. And also, tacit knowledge is the intelligence we have that is gained through personal and professional experiences. So next slide. So here are the examples of tacit knowledge critical to business that is difficult to write down, visualize, and teach. So the first one here is how to speak a language. It is really complicated to write down the rules of a language. Learning a specific language involves immersion or using the language for a long periods of time. So for example, sometimes we may meet or we may have a colleague that has a different dialect than us, or somehow we can also adapt to their dialect or vice versa. We can know the meaning of what they are saying over a long period of time that we are together, even though they didn't even teach us their dialect. So the second one here is innovation. It is an indescribable skill. Some individuals exert great effort with innovation for many decades with modest success. Others, individuals appear to innovate easily for a period of time. So tacit knowledge is an important driver in innovation, and its application has significant impact on the innovation process. So the third one here is leadership. It is difficult to teach or training that it is difficult to teach a complex social skill like leadership. That can be assured to make a leader. Leadership widens from experience. So learning to be a leader involves developing the tacit knowledge to give confidence in one's decisions, because most of the knowledge of being a leader required is built through an action, experience,
and reflection. So the next one here is next. So aesthetic sense. It explains why art and culture is so much engaging. It is hard to articulate the appeal of a work of art. It is even more difficult to teach an aesthetic sense. Aesthetic sense is embedded in an individual's worldview. It can be refined but not taught. So for example, if an architect wanted to add this particular design to his creation, he has that professional intuition or gut feeling that it will actually end up good and aesthetically pleasing. So the next one is going to be sales. Is another difficult social skill that is quite tricky to teach. Great salespeople are normally described as naturals because it's not easy to transfer the skills to others. So the tacit knowledge that the naturals the one of the tacit knowledge that the naturals have is by knowing the right words to use to attract and engage to their customers as a salesperson. So number 6 is the body language. It is extremely significant to communication. However, it is complex to teach. Since the body language is difficult to teach, this form of knowledge can mainly be transferred among communication or through observations. Next. Okay, so the next one is going to be the intuition. It is the ability to comprehend things with no application of logic. It is vital to innovation and decision making. So, for example, intuition, if a mechanic hears a sound of an engine, instantly he knows that it is on gear, on oil, or on fan, since yeah, he was a mechanic and he has an intuition to know all of that. So the next one is going to be humor. It is not always likely to make a clear why something is funny. It is hard to teach a sense of humor. For instance, humor needs an exacting time, which is considered intuitive. Oh, so for us, sometimes we all laugh at things that we can explain why we find them funny. So the next one is going to be snowboarding. Tasks that necessitate physical coordination like riding a snowboard or bicycle are regarded as tacit knowledge. So even without the slightest idea of to explain on how these things are done, um, we have the ability to recognize and learn this. The next one is going to be the emotional intelligence. So it is the ability to read and use emotions to influence results. It is difficult to teach or express. So the emotional intelligence is helpful in socializing. And yeah, indeed, experience is the best teacher in tacit knowledge. So the next one is going to be the physical ability. Next. Okay, so the physical ability is performing job-related tasks requiring manual labor or physical skill. Jobs that require this ability are structural iron and steel workers, tractor trailer and heavy equipment drivers, farm workers, and firefighters. Here are a few important types of physical abilities. So the first one here is strength. It refers to the degree which the body is capable of exerting force. There are 3 types of strengths according to the job. The first one is going to be the static strength. It refers to the ability to lift, push, or pull heavy objects using hands, arms, legs, shoulders, or back. It is involved in jobs in which people need to lift objects such as boxes, equipment, machine parts, and heavy tools. For example, are the construction workers. And the next one is going to be explosive strength. It refers to the ability to exert short bursts of energy to move the body or an object. Employees who are required to run, jump, or throw things at work must have this ability. For example, are the firefighters and the policemen. And then the next strength is going to be the dynamic strength. It is the ability to exert force for a prolonged period of time without becoming overly fatigued and giving out. It is needed for the jobs that need employees to climb ropes or ladders or pull themselves onto platforms. Next. So the second type of the physical ability is the stamina. It refers to the ability of the person's lungs and circulatory system to work efficiently when he is engaging in prolonged physical activity. It is important for jobs requiring running, swimming, and climbing like athletes, dancers, commercial divers, and firefighters. So in stamina, we have here flexibility and coordination. So flexibility means the ability to twist, stretch, bend, or reach. This is required in jobs that need extreme ranges of motion, like walking in cramped compartment or an awkward position. Coordination is the quality of physical movement. Next. So the next one is going to be the dynamic flexibility. It is needed for a job that is repeated and somewhat quick bends, twists, or reaches such as a house painter or on a ladder attempting to paint some trim just barely within reach. Athletes, dancers, riggers, industrial machinery mechanics, choreographers, commercial divers, and structural oil and steel workers need this ability. Gross body coordination. It is the ability to synchronize the movements of the body, arms, and legs to do something while the body is in motion. Gross body equilibrium. It is the ability to maintain the balance of the body in unstable contexts or when the person has to change direction like jumping rope or walking on a beam balance. So the third one is going to be the psychomotor ability. So it means the capability to manipulate and control objects. It is a wide range of actions involving physical movement related to conscious cognitive processing. So in psychomotor ability, we have here the fine manipulative ability. This is the ability to keep the arms and hands steady while using the hands to do precise work, generally on small or delicate objects like arteries, nerves, jams, or watches. The second one is going to be control movement ability. This is the ability to make precise adjustments using machinery to complete work effectively, like anyone who drills things for a living, whether wood, concrete, or teeth. The third one is going to be response orientation. This is the ability to choose the right action swiftly in response to several different signals. And the last one is going to be response time. This is the ability that reflects how quickly a person responds to signaling information after it happens. So the fourth one is going to be sensory ability. It is the capability related with vision or with our eyes and hearing or with our ears. So the first one here is going to be the near and far vision. It is the ability to see details of an object up close or at a distance. The second one is going to be night vision. It is the ability to see things in low light. Visual color discrimination is the ability to detect differences in colors and shades. Depth perception is the ability to judge relative distances. Hearing sensitivity, it is the ability to hear differences in sounds that vary in terms of pitch and loudness. Next. And we have here auditory attention. It's the ability to focus on a source of sound in the presence of other sources. And the last one here is going to be speech recognition, is the ability to identify and understand the speech of others. So that's it. And before I end this, I have a quick refresher. Feel free to unmute lang guys, mapapalo ka mo. So the first one here is it is an indescribable skill. Anyone?
Anyone who would like to try?
Innovation.
Okay, thank you. Yes, innovation. And the second one, it means the capability to manipulate and control objects.
Ako, Glor. Psychomotor.
Very good.
Thank you so much for the first half of attitude. Sir Penswenya, would you like to add?
I'm going to reserve my add-on topic later on the topic about attitude because this is really very important to talk about. Okay, proceed to another presenter, please. Thank you.
Okay, sir. The next presenter, please carry on for tacit knowledge and physical ability, attitude.
Okay, again, good morning everyone. As mentioned earlier, characteristics like personality and ability greatly influences work performance that served as a concepts for predicting and changing behavior in the organizational settings. Now let us move to attitudes. The word attitude is not new to us since we hear this every time in school and even in every social media platforms. However, what I am going to report is the attitude that could be applied in the workplace. So, Jet, ang previous na slide ni. Thank you. Previous. Sige, amo na lang na. So, to continue, as you can see there in our presentation, we have 4 important points to be discussed. And please, I need your attention and focus so that you can freely correct us or me and give us constructive criticism, not to make us feel bad, but to enhance more our speaking skills as well as how we formulate and discuss the lessons. So next, Jet. Attitudes. Attitudes are all around us and indeed impact our behavior. As you can see, the attitudes impact our behavior. They are somewhat related but not similar at all. When we say attitude, it talks about how we feel as stated there. In the third bullet, it's our readiness to feel and also a belief probably toward a particular object, person, thing, and even events, which is also a result of our experiences. So next slide, Jet. So, okay. To make the definition of the word attitude short, we took 3 significant conclusions for easy understanding. The first one is attitudes are stable. So, without strong reasons to change attitudes, the attitudes of people will remain the same. So, in short, the attitudes of people will remain the same unless there are strong reasons to change their attitude. Actually, there are a lot of factors that attitudes could be affected and later on adjust that leads to changes. Number 2, attitudes are directed towards some person, object, or idea. That means a person could feel or have different attitudes towards other people, an object, or events, just like an attitude towards job. Attitude towards the idea shared by a stranger or any possible situations where attitude could be directed with. Number 3, an attitude on an object or a person relates to an individual's behavior towards that object or person. In this matter, attitude and behavior are now connected or they relate with each other. That only means that our behavior or how we act towards a situation reflects our attitude. Attitude is more on feelings while behavior is on action. Next, Jet. So, attitude formation. Now we have Yes, personal values, experiences, and personalities are some forces that could form attitude. It is significant to know the structure of an attitude in order to see how attitudes are formed and could be changed. Now, we have three important components of an attitude. These are affective, cognitive, and behavioral. First is affective. It talks about the emotional component of an attitude. It includes the feelings of a person. It could be either positive or negative towards an object. Experts believe that though emotions and feelings vary every day, they could still be predictable due to some constant predisposition by the word predictable, just like, for example, knowing that a person is religious, we can predict they always go to church. So next, Jet. Secondly, we have the cognitive. While the affective refers to the feeling, di bala? The cognitive naman is about the person's perception about an object, a belief, or even an opinion. It is favorable or unfavorable impression of a person towards something. And the last is the behavioral. This is how a person take an action towards someone or something. For a clear understanding, I will give you a situation in a workplace para maintindihan pagid if ano ang affective or ang difference ng affective, cognitive, and behavioral. When we say affective, di ba it talks about the feelings, while cognitive naman, it talks about the belief or the perception of a person towards something or someone, while behavior naman nag-talks about on how a person take an action towards someone or something. Let us say in affective, I am afraid of my boss. By the word afraid, it is the feeling nga nakubaan siya sa iya boss. So fear ang iya nga feeling. While sa cognitive, I believe that my boss is so strict. By the word believe, amo na siya ang belief. And then the behavioral, so I highly respect my boss. So ano dira ang action nga gintakes ng person. So amo na i-respect ang iya nga boss. Next, Jet. So now we have two important attitudes in the workplace. The first one is job satisfaction. If an employee experiences a fulfillment or satisfaction in his job, it is impossible for him not to work hard because, as stated there in the presentation, high degree of satisfaction symbolizes a positive attitude on job, while a low degree of satisfaction symbolizes a negative attitude on the job. Just like for instance, if ang employee may satisfaction sa iya job, then ang matabo jutay lang iya mga absences, and ang ina nga mga absences, of course, may valid reason gina. And also, they are excited to go to work, they are loyal, and of course, will offer a positive contributions. So number two, or another one, is the organizational commitment. By the word commitment, it refers to the attachment, the loyalty, and dedication of an employee to the whole organization. If this attitude would be practiced, an employee would see himself as a true member of the organization. He will help himself or he help himself to be a part of organization, and wala siya nag-create sang walls to cause division. Instead, nag-create siya bridge ng towards other employees or even ang mga employers ya kag ang mga dissatisfaction nga na-feel ya, gina-ignore ya, and has the intention to stay in the job. So next slide please. Change of attitudes. While attitudes are enduring and have a powerful effect on behavior, they can also be changed. Social forces often act on existing attitudes that over time attitudes may change in impulsive manner. Attitude could be changed due to social forces, as stated there, or however, a manager could possibly change employees' attitudes. How is this possible? In changing employees' attitude, a manager could use systematic way of doing it. Like for example, the first example there is the persuasive communication. So what is persuasive communication? Ini siya gina-use ni sa sang employee para mag-persuade sang iyang mga employees by the use of television or by the means of television, radio, or internet advertisement to change their attitude. Now, this is not for nonsense reason but to enhance or develop attitudes for the betterment of an organization. Under the persuasive communication, it has 4 elements. Next slide, check. The first one is communicator, the one who convince others to change their attitude. Di bala ang technique nga gamit sa manager amo ni ang persuasive communication. So under some persuasive communication, we have the communicator. When we say communicator, siya ni ang naga-convince to others to change their attitude. And bilang communicator, we have 4 qualities listed there. First one is the communicator's overall credibility. Number 2, the trust in the intention of the communicator. 3, similarity of interest of goals and interest with target. And letter D, attractiveness of the communicator. Next, Jet. Number 2 element, or the second element, is the message. So kagina ang communicator nagatalk na siya about sa kung sino ang nag-convince, while a message naman niya, it is the content intended to stimulate the change in others' attitude. By the word message, amo ni sa ang content kung anong gina-convince sa communicator. We also have the 3 factors that could induce larger changes in attitude. Just like, for example, no change in attitude for the smoker if he does not believe that he is likely to develop heart disease. So, under sa message, that fear arousal is an important dimension of message content. If ang isa ka smoker nang wala siya nagapati nga maka-cause na heart disease ang pag-smoke ya. So, syempre wala man sang change sang iya nga attitude. So, the possibility that negative results will actually occur if no change in behavior is done. Number 2, the perceived effect of changing behavior. For instance, if he has been smoking so many years that he does not believe that stopping at this time will help the situation. And the last one, the perceived ability to change behavior. In this case, if the smoker does not believe he can quit smoking. Next, Jet. And the third one is the situation. The situation is the surroundings in which the message is offered. So, kagina, communicator, siya na ang nag-convince, and then a message, amo na sa ang content sang kung anong gina-convince niya. And the 3 is the surroundings or the settings na ara sila. And number 4 is the target. The target naman, it is the person whose attitude the communicator desires to change. Kung sino ang target sa nga mo nga communicator nga ginadesire nga magbago. So the following people have difficulty in changing their behavior. So we have 3 types of people or 3 types of person nga kabudlay gid i-change ang ilang behavior. Number 1 is more rigid and less willing to change their attitude. So in short, they are unwilling to change. Number 2, with high self-esteem because they know they are correct, pride and cannot accept correction. And locus of control. When we say locus of control, it refers to the extent to which people feel that they have control over the events that influence their lives. And next slide, chat. So now, let us proceed to cognitive dissonance. The uneasy feeling when an individual behaves in a way inconsistent with existing attitude. Assume that attitudes and behavior must be consistent. This means that the behavior of a person should not be contradictory with the attitudes that they hold. For example, behaving in ways that are not aligned with your personal values may result in intense feelings of discomfort. Basta wala gasantuanay ang behavior and attitude mo na siya ang cognitive dissonance. In effect, they feel anxious, guilty, or ashamed, and as a result, they will try to hide their actions or beliefs from others, avoid learning new information that goes against their existing beliefs, and many more. So it is also the feelings of discomfort and tension are often dealt with through dissonance reduction. Next slide, Chet. And lastly, following are the three conditions that may lead to dissonance and the changing of attitudes. So I'll just read it for you na lang. Number 1, behavior must be considerably inconsistent with the attitude rather than slightly inconsistent. Number 2, inconsistent behavior may cause damage or have negative effects for others. Number 3, inconsistent behavior must be voluntary and not forced, or at least the person may perceive it that way. So before I end my report, I have here a quick refresher. Sige. It is the tendency of a person to take an action in a definite way towards someone or something. So, sino ang pwede
Behavior.
ka sabat? Again, Mr. Tolentino?
Behavioral, Rick.
Yes, correct. Thank you. It is the surroundings in which the message is offered. So anyone could answer? Yes, Mr. Tubong?
Situation, Rick.
Situation, yes, Ayan, you are correct. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So before we are going to proceed to another topic on the topic about values, allow me first to give some insights to beef up the presentations of the presenter. Are you with me?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Listen to this. There is a need for us. It's just like personality that we need to use good personality, the one that I made mentions a while ago, and come up with the short discussions on this, and also with our positive attitude, because there are some attitude which are not acceptable. There are some attitude which are acceptable. There are some attitude which are applicable, and there are some attitude which are not. No. So what we need in the organization are positive attitude. Am I correct? So we need to maintain a positive attitude at work. This will benefit your career and steer you towards a promotion. Okay? This is the most important quality that employees look for in a candidate and a team members. Okay? However, maintaining a positive attitude on a daily basis in the workplace is very, very hard, as you may think of it. Work is stressful and challenging, and most professionals face deadlines and obstacles on a weekly basis. This is not an environment that fosters positive attitude. You really have to work at it. Okay? So how to project a positive attitude? One way for us to be able to project a positive attitude is to use positive language. I repeat, use positive language. Colby, what did I say?
Use positive language, sir.
Open your microphone, please. No? So having this positive language, no matter how long you've been with a company and how comfortable you may be around your colleagues, you should never use profanity. Okay? You have to be profane, meaning you have to be extra cautious and very cautious, very aware and very familiar of your action. Be it your words, be it in your deeds, be it in your action, right? If it slips out in a high stress situation, we can't let it slide. But you cannot swear on a regular basis. This is a professional environment, and the use of profanity immediately ignites a negative aura into its surroundings. Another one is never to criticize anyone. There is a difference between criticism and constructive feedback. Always use the method where you begin by complimenting the individual by something that you've done well and follow it up with a suggestion on how to improve their performance. Also ensure to have this conversation in private, never to criticize the person or your employee in front of others, nor that you are going to embarrass your employees in front of others. Are you following, Colby?
Yes, sir.
Very good. So the individual will respect your feedback and also respect the fact that you brought awareness to this situation in a professional manner. I repeat, do it in a professional manner. Can you say it again, Colby?
Do it in a professional manner, sir. I'm very
Very
sorry,
good.
sir.
Okay, stay away also from gossip. You know what is gossip, Colby?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so gossip, these are unfounded statements. These are being crafted, manipulated, no? And this is one way for the intention of destroying the credibility, the personality, the character, and the attitude of a person. Are you following? So gossip in our own term in Ilonggo, we call this as kotso-kotso. We cannot deny for a fact that there are some people love and they are an officer and they are also a member of kotso-kotso group. They are the intrigira, they are the intrigiro, they are the kotso-kotsera, and they are the kotso-kotsero. Are you following? So these are gossips, no? So you, as future employees to be, stay away from gossip. Stay away from gossip. Nothing eats away at a teamwork environment worse than gossip does. Whether team members are gossiping about colleagues on their professional problems, avoid the situations altogether. If you're caught in a conversation, act as a listener who does not provide any input. Just listen, but do not add another information. Right? Maintaining a positive attitude at work means that you are a team player who provides all team members with respect by reframing from joining a gossip circle. You can ensure that you maintain that level of respect. Another one is to put teamwork first. Put teamwork first. When a team member has performed well, let them know. Offering pats on the back, compliments on a job well done are the two simple and easy ways to foster a positive teamwork environment. By saying congratulations for a job well done, by extending your arm for a handshake for a job well done, that's enough. In the same regard, when the team is faced with an obstacle, be sure to offer solutions and next steps rather than focusing on the negatives. Approach its obstacle with a glass half full mentality, and you will create a positive outlook that will catch on to the rest of the team. And the next is do not complain. Do not complain. Every day is not a good day. Do you believe in that?
Yes, sir.
But don't let everyone on the team know that. You may have been stuck in standstill traffic that morning, or you experience a 45-minute delay in your ride because of traffic, but you can't let those variables affect your work. If you are in a foul mood, ensure you walk it off before you get to the office. That way, instead of ranting to your colleagues about how terrible your morning was, you can poke fun at your bad luck and give anyone a chuckle. Laughing at your unfortunate circumstances will keep the environment positive, where one thing will add negatively and diminish the upbeat working tune of the office. And also, why do we need to think about or to ask ourselves to adopt a positive attitude? Why? Because it gives you health benefits. Positive attitude is about just like smiling at work. It is literally a benefits your overall health. Stress can deteriorate your health. Believe me. Do you believe in that,
Colby,
Yes, sir.
that stress can deteriorate your health? Agree or disagree?
Of course. Sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Especially when you experience it on a daily basis. These daily stresses start to wear down your health and your immune system, particularly that we are in pandemic. Put a stop to that before it starts by using our steps to ensure you face each workday positively. Okay? So having positive attitude become a role model. Avoid negativity. Your positive attitude at work will allow your colleagues to feel comfortable coming to you with questions or for an advice. You will quickly become a role model and an ally for many team members, which will be viewed as an excellent and quality by superiors. Why? Because you are submitting yourself to be a role model. Why? Because you adopt a positive attitude. Okay, another reason because of infectious possibility, infectious positivity. Your positive attitude will rub off on your teammates. Nobody wants to be grumpy and pessimistic team members when any or everyone else is so positive. You will set as an example, become a role model, and eventually create a full team of professionals with positive attitudes. This will boost the effectiveness of the overall working environment and lead to success for the company, right? And also take the lead role. You become a role model in the team, so naturally management will see that you have the leadership qualities to take part on the next special team members. Okay? And having this positive attitude, you will be the next in line to be promoted. Are you happy for that?
Yes, sir.
All right? Because you have a positive attitude. No?
Yes,
Are you
sir.
following? So positivity in the workplace shows that you are going to encourage your team members to overcome obstacles and work cohesively. You know what is cohesive or cohesively? Meaning to kalamay-hati, gid ka mo. You are going to work together to achieve the organizational goals. As a team member with a positive attitude, you will have already demonstrated these traits to your superior and therefore will be favored for a promotion. Is that correct? Why? Because you have a positive attitude. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. Do we understand each other? Do we
Okay.
understand each
Thank you,
other?
sir. I would be the next reporter, sir.
Proceed, please. Thank you.
Okay, next report will be values. Yes. Okay. Values refer to stable and evaluative life goals that people have, reflecting what is most important to them. Values are founded during one's life as a result of the collective life experiences and are likely to be relatively constant. The values that are significant to people affect the types of decisions they make, how they see their environment, and their real behaviors. Moreover, whether individuals will be satisfied at a given job may depend on whether the job provides a way to satisfy their dominant values. Value attainment is one reason why people stay in a company. Therefore, understanding employees at work requires understanding the value of orientation of employees. So, values are accumulated. We already tackled that in our previous topics, that values are accumulated and that our values are individual beliefs that motivate people to act one way or another. They serve as a guide for human behavior. Next, Jit. Type of values. Social psychologist Milton Rockach developed the classification system of values which consists of two sets of values, 18 individual value items in each. One set is called terminal values, the other instrumental values. Instrumental values can be defined as specific methods of behavior. Instrumental values are not an end goal, but rather provide the means by which an end goal is accomplished. So Milton already gave us a classification system. We're in next jet. We have here the first value set, the instrumental values. This includes cheerfulness, ambition, love, cleanliness, self-control, capability, courage, politeness, honesty, imagination, independence, intellect, broad-mindedness, logic, obedience, helpfulness, responsibility, and forgiveness. Next, Jet. And here is the 18th term. Contentedness. Wisdom is a mature understanding of life. National security is the protection from attack. And 9, salvation or saved by eternal life. Next. 10th terminal value is true friendship, which means close companionship, a sense of accomplishment or a lasting contribution, inner harmony or the freedom from inner conflict, a comfortable life, which means prosperous life, a mature love, which is spiritual intimacy, a world of beauty, social recognition, which is respect or admiration, and an exciting life, which means a stimulating active life. Next, please. Values congruence. The concept of value congruence refers to how similar individuals value hierarchy to the values hierarchy of the organization. Person-organization value congruence are similar. Second fact entails of how consistent the values evident in one's action with what one say he believes in. The third type consists of the compatibility of an organization's dominant values with the prevailing values of the community or society in which it carries out business. So value congruence, again, occurs when the value system of an employee coincides with the value system of an organization. Next. Element in every organization. Collectivism, it is also a value that is characterized by the emphasis on cohesiveness among individuals and prioritization of group over the self. So it can be in contrast with individualism, wherein individualism again focuses on one person, while collectivism focuses on a group. It is an identity is based on the group to which one belongs. Relationship prevail over tasks, and the connotation should be avoided. Next. Excuse me. Next. Third is power distance. Power distance defined as the extent to which people allow an equal distribution of power in an organization. There is a huge differences from one country to another, especially between Asia and Western countries. People in high distance countries believe that power and authority are facts of life. So in power distance, it is the extent to which less powerful members of the organization expect and accept the power distributed unequally. It is a significant dimension in cross-cultural environment that it unconsciously influences people's behavior in different organizations, which contributes to so-called cultural norms, which are again shaped by perception and acceptance of power inequality to a certain degree. So people in an organization accept that there is inequality within among power that they have, and they also accept that fact that not everyone have the same power in that organization. Next will be uncertainty avoidance. This is the extent where the members of a culture programs feel either uncomfortable or comfortable in a unstructured situation. So it is how culture differ on the amount of tolerance they have of unpredictability. It means that individuals are comfortable with uncertainty and the unknown. It means that as human, we do know that there are uncertainties and there might be decisions that there is high uncertainty. Uncertainty avoidance emphasize that individuals are good to go, means they are comfortable with that. Fifth and last will be the achievement orientation. Achievement orientation is strong achievement orientation that when work-related goals come into conflict with other areas of life, the desire to achieve will win out. So the achievement orientation, it is how an individual interacts tasks, resulting in different patterns of cognition and affects behavior. It is also said to be associated with individuals' academic achievement, adjustment, and well-being. So, achievement orientation means that whatever happens in your plan, in your game plan, it is your determination to win the goal, achieve what you desire, that wins it out. Thank you. Next, Jet. Okay, that would be all. Let's have. First, it can be defined as the level to which a person values independence and personalness. Who would like to try to answer? Anyone?
Individualism.
Yes, correct, Mr. Tolentino. There you go. Next, it is the extent to which people value duty to groups they belong and to group harmony. This is already discussed earlier. Who would like to try?
Ako din.
Collectivism.
Naunahan ka na ni Tubo. Yes, correct. Collectivism.
Okay lang.
Thank you so much. Sir Pensvenia, would you like to add more?
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Colby. But we have to proceed to the next presenter. We still have.
That was the last topic, sir.
Okay, very good. So proceed now to the next activity.
Okay, let's proceed. Let me see here. Would be the next. It would be the sharing moments.
Don't forget that there will be another video for presentation purposes. Do you have? Please get
yes, sir.
Have your colleague on your side, please.
What the video, sir?
Please use your program for your
Yes, sir.
guidance.
Okay, sir. Let's have Mr. Tolentino for internalization.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So, as we have seen in the earlier sections of this chapter, human beings bring in their personality, values, attitudes, perceptions, and other stable traits to work. And we should take note that employees are individuals and their individuality affect their participation within an organization. So we already know that it is important to respect the individuality in the workplace and to embrace diversity. But in order to measure the relationship between personality traits and job performance, we can make use of the Big Five personality traits and the Myers-Briggs type indicator as the group have presented a while ago. And through this, we can have a successful organization that has the right mix of individuals in the right positions at the right times. Moreover, when our abilities match job demands and when our values match company values, we tend to be more satisfied with our job and more committed to the company we work for. Furthermore, encouraging a fast work attitude will improve your overall effectiveness. Knowing yourself as a person, ensuring that you work at a job and organization where you fit in, and developing strong work connections with your manager, coworkers, and subordinates are all ways to boost your own happiness at work. Therefore, performance, including how he reacts to work conditions, personality, abilities, attitudes, and values influence every area of a person's performance. And because not every personality and ability, as well as attitude and values, are suited for every job role, it's critical to assess these traits and match people with tasks that best match their personalities. So, therefore, I can say that with this, it can lead to a higher productivity and job happiness, which will help your company run more smoothly and will help attain its goals and objectives. That would be all, and thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Tolentino. For the comments, let's have Ms. Jovelyn Octavio.
For my comments in this group, I like how they lit up the mood. Thanks for their energizer. They also deliver the topics very well. Especially, I like the quick refreshers at the end of every subtopic. But then it's just that some parts were interrupted, but then the reporting really went well. That's it. Good job, guys.
Recording video, Colby, please be reminded for recording video. Make sure it's going on well.
Yes, sir. It is going on, sir.
Very good. Thank you very much. Proceed, please.
Now I have Miss Rachel. Suggestion.
Morning, everyone. First, I'd like to congratulate the group presentation. We started on time and everything ran smoothly. Reporters were very well spoken. There is almost nothing I could suggest really. Oh, I noticed that some of your slides in the presentation were a little crowded, so I suggest that you make your slide a little less crowded by putting lesser words per lines and limit your lines per slide and also use a bigger font size. Anyway, it doesn't change the fact that you really did a great job. So congratulations to the group. So,
Thank you so much. Let's have Miss Patrivo for her part. For
So,
the
first
reaction.
of all, proceed natin.
Go.
Yes. Yeah, first of all, I also wanted to say congratulations for a job well done report. You all did pass my expectation and even go beyond actually. So, well, the report is well organized. You know how, when, and where to start and also end it in a natural manner. You discuss each topic in detail and everyone in the group got and utilized their time explaining it. And you also introduced different personality traits, ability, attitudes, and values that an individual may possess, and give us a hint which of each of the following do we belong. And lastly, I want to stress out the part wherein you had gave various examples and situations of each important topic. It indeed helped us understand more clearly the things that you were discussing. So all in all, everything is superb. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patrivo. Ms. Jika Kandar, can you share us your observation?
Yes, good morning. Well, I
Good
had
morning.
observed that the group started the class on time, and the reporters are very much prepared in their designated topics and provided some energizers before the start of the class to make sure that everyone is lively and ready for the discussions and the class become more interactive in adding some breakers in between the reporters. So the presentation for me is a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kandar. Ms. Ondong, K. Angeli, how valuable the topic is, would you share it with us?
Good morning, everyone. So I am assigned to share how valuable the topic is. The topic is valuable as it talks about the different concepts an individual must possess to have a harmonious workplace. It is very important that each one of us in an organization understands each other and works as one in achieving the organization's goal. Hence, we have to know and understand the personality and attitudes of our coworkers to give us an idea how to deal with them. In addition, the manager's job is to facilitate its employees as well as their works. So for the manager, it is a must to know the abilities of the employees in order to assign them in a task. In order to assign them in a task they are good at or fit in. To sum it up, understanding the concepts of personality, ability, attitudes, and values of an individual in the workplace is very important because, as what the reporter mentioned, it can influence work performance as well as it will help predict and change behavior in the organizational settings. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ondong. Now let us have Ms. Montevilla to share us the implication of the topic.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. And first, I want to congratulate the group reporters. And for the implication of the topic, in order for an organization to be successfully managed, understanding the important concepts which refers to the personality, ability, attitudes, and values of its employees is very helpful and necessary. By doing so, employees will be placed in the right jobs and assigned in an accurate department that perfectly fits their abilities. Having a knowledge of employees' different characteristics or traits allows the organization or the management to know its employees better and how can their employees with unique attributes influence the work performance. Identifying in which aspect that employees excel could also be a huge help to have a productive workplace. The more that the organization is being observant towards its employees, the more likely it becomes a competitive and successful. The ability of employees to acquire and apply their knowledge in solving problems, in handling relationship and interaction with each other, and the ability of employees to obtain informal knowledge based on his or her emotions, observations, intuition, and internalized information could be a driving force behind their high-level performance. The success of an organization lies in the primary assets of the organization, which is the human resource. Thus, making opportunity to study and better understand their uniqueness and building relationship with them could affect job satisfaction. And consequently, a satisfied employee is expected to perform with excellence. And this satisfaction can lead to the attachment of the employee to the organization. Thus, they are becoming a highly committed employee. That's all, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Montevilla. I would like to ask Ms. Janelo Sembrano like to prepare herself.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. To start off, I believe that ability to values are essential to a productive and successful workplace. So I would like to prepare myself in a sense that first, my personality and attitudes should match what is needed in the organization and crucial to the business success, such as being creative, having the initiative, and a risk taker. Next, obtain the needed ability in the areas of physical, mental, and emotional ability to competently deal with the day-to-day process. And lastly, possess the appropriate values. That's all. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you so much. For the sharing, Miss Kristen Aligan, would you like to share something to the class?
Okay, so the group presented in an effective manner the concept of personality, ability, attitudes, and value in a workplace behavior. They also have discussed the MBTI or the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Actually, MBTI test is used with different companies, especially the Fortune 100. So what is the Fortune 100? The Fortune 100 are companies, it's the annual ranking of the world's largest corporations. These companies are ranked by total revenues for their respective fiscal years. The top three who made to the Fortune 100 is the Walmart, who is top one. Top two is the Amazon, and top three is Apple. Statistics show that more than 3.5 million assessments are administered each year, and nearly 90% of the Fortune 100 companies use the MBTI test in the hiring process or as a team building exercise. They also discuss about extroversion and introversion. So most of our population is composed of extroverts even in a workplace, but there are also introvert people who are successful. These successful introverts include the Facebook CEO and co-founder Mark Zuckerberg, former First Lady of the US Michelle Obama, and former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. It just means that there is no certain personality type to be a leader, because if you're in the right career for your personality type, you will naturally become the best at your position. And that's it. Thank you, and a job well done for the group.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to the learning experiences to share. Miss Jazel Romero.
Good morning, everyone. So I would
Good
like to
morning.
start by quoting what Winston Churchill had said. He said that attitude is a little thing that makes a big difference. So recently, I read a true story about attitude and, of course, personality and behavior of the certain employees in a company, and it taught me an important lesson that I'd like to share with you too. So here is a story. It happened on November 2016 at the Paris Convention Center in France. So after working all day long as furniture handlers in the numerous offices and conference rooms, two groups of employees started debating about the job and their professional future. The first group is part of the regular team. They are born and raised in African villages, but they've never been to school. They can't read or write well, but they are incredible workers. They're always on time, always energetic, and always positive. On the other hand, the second group is extra staff hired for the day due to increased activity. They are born and raised in France. They are from popular class but went to school and have access to universities. They also have more opportunities than the African workers. In the break room, the French workers started complaining about the job. They said, "It is difficult and painful. The money is bad. This is a stupid job. We are lifting heavy furniture and setting up the same offices and rooms every day for years." Then the African workers replied to the French workers. They said, "Work means effort. Taking responsibilities for our families is important. More money will come if the job is done well." So what happened then is considered by the owner as unrealistic, because the French started explaining to the Africans that they were destined to do that job all their lives, but not them because they were French and didn't have to accept such stupid and underpaid job. They could have better opportunities. To them, the Africans were a dard, or this is a French
French, rather slang word meaning from distant village, implying being poor, uneducated, destined to be enslaved to the system, and no other options were available to them. But despite the fact that the African workers can't read or write properly because they have no proper education, they are always on time, always going the extra mile, and always positive with ethics. On the other hand, the French workers would have a lot of opportunities and access to education. They are always late. They are not motivated. They are keep complaining and refuse to take responsibilities for themselves. So from the point of view of the manager, after working with Africans for years, they can say that the Africans became the pillars of the team. The company also offered them full-time contracts, implying health insurance and all the benefits of the French system. So together as a team, they regularly overcome challenges and accumulate great results. As for the French, of course, the company never hired them again because for them, it is always someone else's fault because of bad economy, bad manager, bad public transportation. So the lesson that I want to share with you is when we think about education, we always think about degrees or technical skills. But this is only one aspect among few others to consider. Actually, there are this one skill that the manager should consider when examining an individual or when hiring an employee. So that individual should know how to behave himself, of course, along with his personal values and social skills in a workplace. Of course, we need to make sure the candidate has sufficient knowledge and technical skills to do the job, but we should never neglect his social skills. I believe that even the Africans have no educational attainment like the French. I believe that they would be able to grow in any organization if coached by a good manager. So ng remember that attitude is everything. It is the key ingredient to success no matter how talented or skilled you are. Of course, may iban ay kalabanan ng mga job subong naga-require gid sang may degree ka dapat or pila ka years ng experience. But kung gamiton to sa term, anon mo man na siya if ang ano pa nila nga term is kung wala ka batasan. So dapat balance man no para kabalo ka man dapat mag-control sa imong nga own nga personality para ka-blend in ka man sa those nga other members pa sa organization. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Romero. Now let's move to the recognition part. Ms. Balyarta.
So, good morning, everyone. For the recognition, the presenters have done a great job in managing the class discussion despite Sir JJ's absence in the first part of the program. The moderator, in fact, is highly commendable for her excellent performance. She and the rest of the members of the group have made the presentation both informative and enjoyable. And with regards to the flow of the presentation, there are only a little to less dead air, and that everyone is really attentive, participative, and prepared for their parts. Overall, it was a job well done. Congratulations, Group 3.
Thank you so much, Ms. Balyarta. Next will be the insights to be shared by Ms. Marita, I mean. Is she around? Oh, she sent me her insights. On behalf of Ms. Marita, I will read her insights about the topic personality, ability, attitude, and values. She said here, our personality is defined as a set of traits that can explain or predict a person's behavior in a variety of situations. In other words, personality is a set of characteristics that reflect the way we think and act in a given situation. Because of this, our personality has a lot to do with how we relate to one another at work. How we think, what we feel, and our normal behavior characterize what our colleagues come to expect of us, both in behavior and the expectation of their interactions with us. For example, let's suppose at work you are known for being on time but suddenly start showing up late daily. This directly conflicts with your personality, that is. The fact that you are conscientious, As a result, co-workers might start to believe something is wrong. Although there is a debate between whether or not our personalities are inherent when we are born, or what we call nature, versus the way we grew up, or what we say nurture. Most researchers agree that personality is usually a result of both nature and our environmental or educational experiences. Our values help determine our personality. Our values are those things we find most important to us. For example, if your value is calmness and peace, your personality would show this in many possible ways. You might prefer to have a few close friends and avoid going to a nightclub on Saturday nights. You might choose a less stressful career path, and you might find it challenging to work in a place where frequent conflicts occur. Our attitudes are favorable or unfavorable options toward people, things, or situations. Many things affects our attitude, including the environment where we brought up in our individual experiences. In a workplace environment, you can see where attitude is important. Someone's personality may be cheerful and upbeat. These are the prized employees because they help bring positive perspective to the workplace. Likewise, someone with a negative attitude is usually someone that most people prefer not to work with. The problem with a negative attitude is that it has a devastating effect on everyone else. That ends her insights. So let's proceed to concrete example to be shared by Ms. DiPilio.
Okay, good morning everyone. So let me share to you this concrete example based on what I have learned during the discussion of today's topic. So assume you're a painter and there are lots of brushes which comes in different sizes, forms, and functions. Also, there are different sort of mediums such as acrylic paint, watercolors, gouache, colored pencils, crayons, pastels, and many more. You wanted to do a glass painting, but there were no acrylic paints available on that particular day, and brushes were only available in large sizes. Only watercolor and colored pencils are available, but you can't use them to paint on glass because this media don't work on it. But just because you can't use watercolor and glass doesn't mean it can't be useful, because watercolor is supposed to be used on paper, and it only concludes that not all mediums are suitable for every base. The same is true in the workplace, where not every personality, value, or attitude is appropriate for every job role. Furthermore, not all brushes can be utilized in each aspect of the artwork, as large brushes are typically used for backgrounds and large regions to be painted, while small brushes are used for precise details, and the beauty of the artwork may be affected if you use the improper brush size and type. In contrast to what may occur in the job, a person's personality and values can have a significant impact on his or her participation in the organization. Finally, using the proper paint mixture in the right spot in the artwork at the right time will result in a beautiful piece and provide you satisfaction once you've completed the painting you wanted. And we can have a successful organization if we have the appropriate mix of people in the right positions at the right time, and we will be happier in our jobs and more loyal to the organization as a result. Thank you.
Thank you, Eloisa. Now, let us have the point of view of the different persons engaged in an organization, starting from the manager, Mr. Tubong.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
From the point of view of the manager, I believe that the personality, ability, attitudes, and values are universal and also have biological origins. As a manager, these ideas represents the most important qualities that shape our social landscape, especially in our work settings. Always remember that all of this involves an interaction between a person's underlying personality and situational variables. The situation that a person finds himself or herself plays a major role in how the person reacts. However, in most cases, managers offer responses that are consistent with their underlying personality traits. So it is important in predicting and changing the behavior of lower level employees under the manager's control. Lastly, applying all of these good traits in the management will create a huge impact not only to the individual's life but also to the working environment as a whole. That would be all for the point of view of the manager.
Thank you, Mr. Tubom. Now, from the point of view of the teacher, we will have Ibosa.
Good morning. So, as a teacher, it is their duty to create an environment for students that allows them to be comfortable and be themselves and leading them to a happy life. Personality, ability, attitudes, and values play a major role in shaping teachers to be their best as models or a second parent for their students. It is said that the teachers are the second highest determining factor in the development of individuals after the parents. Attitude is very important when you are a teacher. It affects your students in many ways and can shape their learning experiences. Children adapt some of the aspects of their role models while learning. That is why the behavior and attitude of teachers, which they spend most of their day with, has an effect on their personality development and thus giving the impression on whether or not the students will have a bright future. It is not required to be perfect to be a good role model to others. Failures, shortcomings, or problems always come in mostly wrong time, but it is your ability as an individual to make those problems an inspiration and motivation for your students to make themselves better and to strive for their dreams and to thrive in life. Finally, being a teacher is not for the faint of heart. It requires patience, preparedness, flexibility, an open mind, and strength. It is a rewarding career as it gives you the opportunity to change many lives for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Now, from the last point of view, from the employee, let's have Mr. Ian Barbon.
Good morning. On the employee's perspective, knowing your own personality, ability, attitude, and values are very important or list the different personalities of different individuals in the workplace. The knowledge of this will help the employee to assess himself or herself to note or be aware of his or her own personality. Like after reading this, one may say that, oh, this is really me, which could either be a strength or if not, must be changed or somehow strengthened. So because if you're aware of your own personality, then you're also confident that you may know whether it is aligned or suitable in doing your part, facing with the different situations in the workplace. In addition, this topic is very useful to employees to become expert in their personality, ability, attitude, and values. It allows employees to find their strengths and weaknesses, making them more aware of how they interact with each other and how they show care for themselves. And also, it is important to note that employees must not only understand their own personality, attitudes, ability, and values, but as well as to their co-workers in order to have a stronger relationship and be able to examine whether they are capable of the work they are applying for or if they have the qualities needed by the organization. And if they are already employed, they may be able to develop ways to strengthen their weaknesses to ensure a job satisfaction and the success of their organization. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barbon. Now, moving to the last part of our program, let us have a video clip related to the topic. Georgette, would you like to share the video, please? Okay.
Hey, Bella here. I'm 23 years old, and I have big dreams of becoming a talent architect. I was born in a pretty normal family. Don't get me wrong, I adore my family a lot, but they don't understand my deep passion. I didn't want to stay in my dreamy childhood town and have some ordinary job. I wanted to design amazing houses and eco-friendly hotels. I studied super hard on my degree, and it all worked out, as this major architect company called the Star-Crossed Estate Company offered me a job. And better still, it meant I got to continue staying in sunny California. OMG, talk about amazing! Well, at least I thought it was down to my hard work and talents. You see, my boyfriend Ed also works for the Star-Crossed Estate. I met Ed at a college party a few years ago. At that time, I was still a student and he was an alumnus. We bonded over our love of modern architecture and ecological buildings. It took over a year for me to build up the courage to confess my feelings to him. We were at this cafe near college, and I was so nervous when I mumbled it out. Luckily, he figured out what I was trying to say, so he held my hand, then said, "Yes, Bella, I'm such an amateur when it comes to matters of the heart, but I feel the same about you." I fell madly in love with him, and being around Ed, well, it was when I was at my happiest. Then, after my graduation ceremony, I mentioned how I wanted to find a job nearby so I could stay in Cali and be close to him. He said there was a position going at his workplace, and if I gave him a copy of my CV, he'd pass it on. He often told me that he could hook me up with a job there when I graduated, but I just thought he was joking. I mean, he was just some intern, right? It was not like he could help me to get a job at a large company like the Star-Crossed Estate. Anyway, I still gave it to him to find a chance. Then a week later, I got called in for an interview. Then later that day, they called me back saying I'd got the job. I almost screamed when I was running to tell him in excitement, but he just smiled and said, "You didn't trust me back then, did you? Congrats, my new colleague." I was over the moon and couldn't wait to start my next chapter. On my first day, I was super nervous, but Ed said I could go in with him. As we walked in, the receptionist looked at Ed and said, "Morning, Mr. Stratford. Your father would like to talk to you in his office." What? I stared at him open-mouthed. He quickly explained to me how he was not only the head of the project management department, but his father owned the company. I'd been dating him for over a year, and he'd never thought fit to tell me this. It was true that he didn't need to tell me about his family, but this fact was too overwhelming. I had a job in the design department of a prestigious architecture company. And yes, I was the boss's son's girlfriend. This made me kinda awkward. I'd always believed that I could get this job because the company saw my ability, not because the one who introduced me was the heir. But soon, I surely would show that I deserved to be there, regardless of who I was dating. But everything was not that easy. Word soon got around the office that I was Ed's girlfriend, and I was constantly getting dirty looks from other people. Once, I was in the toilet cubicle and overheard some girls talking about me. One girl said, "Talk about favoritism. The new girl in the design department didn't even experience one day as a trainee." Then another girl said, "That bumpkin wouldn't survive for long. Maybe she only lasts a week. Wanna bet?" Of course no. Who will we bet with when we're on the same side? So, hello from the other side. I just couldn't hold it and walked out to see who was bad-mouthing me. And I saw that one of the girls was Diane, who worked in the sales department. What made it worse was she'd always been super nice to me up until this point. I could see their funny faces when they saw me there. "Don't act like that. You are still good girls, not talking behind my back, but my front," I said, then left them frozen inside. I thought that would be the end of it, but it turns out it was just the beginning. Since that day, Diane sneered and made nasty comments whenever I passed her, such as, "Yuck, have you seen the state of her shoes?" And, "Someone should tell her frizzy hair is not a trend." I tried my best to ignore her, but then one time, I got a really strange email from a customer telling me how she was conflicted if she should go with my design or not, after what my colleague told her about me. It turns out, Diane had told this customer that I was an immoral person who stole other people's designs and tried passing them off as my own. Saying snide comments about me was one thing, but bad-mouthing my work? Now, that was a step too far. I waited until Diane came out of her meeting, then I pulled her aside and said, "Look, you can't go around saying I steal other designers' work and use them as my own. I've worked hard to get here, and saying stuff like that is not fair." She snorted. Yeah, right. You're only here because you went crying to your boyfriend for a job. I'm here because I'm good at what I do. Whatever. You're not good enough, and he'll see that eventually and choose me instead. What? Suddenly, this all made sense. She was being a mean girl because she had a crush on my boyfriend, and she was jealous he was with me, not her. So I kept my cool when I said to her, if your problem is Ed, and you think you're good enough to deserve him instead of me, you should focus on him only. Don't change your arrow direction to me and my work. You'll get nothing. Diane seemed really mad. So, okay, the one who should get mad was me, not her. Luckily for me, my boss Jim wasn't like Diane. Instead, he was a really nice guy who didn't treat me differently just because of who my boyfriend was. One time, I was snooping through his profile, purely for project purposes, and I discovered he went to the same college as me, just at different times. I mentioned this to him, and he smiled and said, yeah, that's where I met your boyfriend. He's a good friend of mine. Oh, I hated the word boyfriend at work, so I just ignored it and changed the subject. But anyway, it was good news, right? Jim was Ed's best friend, so at least I could trust him and learn from his work experience. Since I'd worked at Starcross Estate, I often had lunch with Ed, Jim, and Ellie. Ellie was Ed's half-sister, and also his assistant. She was really sweet and ridiculously beautiful. The way she talked and acted made me overwhelmed. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she was such the cleverest and gentlest girl I'd ever met. Gradually, I spent more time after work with Ed, Jim, and Ellie. We usually spent all dinner time discussing work. To me, 3 of them were the colleagues that I always wanted to work with. But, except business things, I didn't know a lot about Jim and Ellie's personal life. Ellie was sweet and all, but she was also a kind of private person and somehow distant from others. Except for Ed, of course. And about Jim, he even had never been close to me and only seemed to talk about work stuff. They were both close to Ed, so I wanted to make friends. But, well, maybe they just saw me as their colleague. As for work, yeah, that was going pretty great. But then in true mean girl fashion, Diane struck again. One day, she stormed over to my desk, slammed a folder full of my designs down onto it, and started yelling at me. You've not followed the customer's requirements, and they're not happy. I replied, oh, I'm sorry. I'll fix it right away. It's not good enough? You're clearly not good enough to be here. Your work's sloppy, and you don't listen. I forced a smile back and said, okay, I'll fix it. She didn't let me finish my words, but just rudely walked away while all of my colleagues were looking at me suspiciously. This whole incident made me feel super deflated. I didn't understand it. I reread the design requirements through and had never seen those orders. Hadn't I? I tried to forget about it all and enjoy my evening, as I was out for dinner with Ed, Jim, and Ellie. We were just quietly enjoying the meal as usual when Ed and Ellie had unexpected work pop up and had to leave. Jim gave me a lift home, and I thought it would be a super awkward and silent journey. But then he asked me if I was okay about what Diane had done to me. I didn't expect him to care about my problem. I always thought that Jim was a stone cold who cared about nothing but work. But turned out, he was so delicate and caring. Then he continued, as a head of my department, I'm sorry that I can't step in to defend you if the problem isn't big enough. Because, it can make the situation worse, and you might suffer more from everyone's gossip. I understand, I honestly said. I think you're a very talented designer, and Ed's girlfriend or not, there's no doubt that you're the best person for the job. If I was you, I'd carry on doing what you're doing and show them all how deserving you are to be there. Jim smiled and patted my shoulder when he said that. I really appreciated Jim's words. I knew he was a nice guy, but he seemed so work-focused and could come off kind of cold, so it was good to see another side to him. I took his advice, and I put all my motivation into creating the best work possible. I read through all the job requirements I was sent at least 3 times and jotted down notes so no one could catch me out again. And I often spent my breaks in the office learning more about the company or discussing architecture with Jim. I was finally beginning to feel like I belonged there, and that my colleagues were beginning to believe this too. Little did I know, another storm was waiting for me. That day, when I was about to leave work, an email from Diane popped up. I opened it thinking it was work-related, but no. It said, break up with Ed right now before everyone knows what a loser you are. He loves me, not you, and I have proof. Attached to the email were a bunch of pictures. Seriously? Could this actually be happening? My heart was pounding like crazy, and my hand was shaking as I clicked on the first image.
Thank you, Georgette. Next, let's proceed to the question and answer. 3 persons may ask from the reporters. Let's have Miss Porcel to ask some question.
Good morning, everyone. So my
Morning.
question is, how do you think managers and employees deal effectively with individual differences in the workplace? So thank you.
Okay, to answer your question, Ms. Purcell, so by understanding how personality types impact the team effectivity, because these help the managers do a better job of forming and managing teams, encouraging everyone to accept each other, and of course, respect is very important. Managers must strive to know employees at a personal and a professional level, allowing them to understand, accept, and manage individual differences. This then can pave the way for performance excellence and high employee engagement.
Are you done?
There are
Add on to
still
the
2 questions, sir.
okay. Add on to the answer of Miss Gloria, you know what? No man is an island, no man stands alone. We need to grow with other people. We need to educate with other people because we cannot afford to live alone, correct? So we need to interact with people, right? It is very important for us to adjust ourselves. We need also to love others. We need also to show concern to others. We need also to treat others as a person, as human being, as a professional one. We need to mingle to others. It's not us that we need only to be understood. It's not us that we are only to receive, but we have to teach ourselves also on how to adjust ourselves towards others, on how to interact to others, on how to build good and better and harmonious relationship to others. We need also to understand their plights and their conditions. It's not we that we have to be understood, but we have to learn ourselves to understand others. Let us do our share to others, right?
Sir.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir. Next question. For the second question, who would like to ask? Mr. Holiano, would you like to ask question?
Yes, Tim, thank you. Good morning, everyone. So here's my question. Among the 5 big personality traits for you, what is the most relevant that an employee should have?
All right. So thank you for that question, Mr. Holiano. So for me, in terms of work, conscientiousness is the strongest predictor of all 5 traits for job performance. Because if an employee possesses this trait, he or she will show high work performance across all dimensions. That is why I choose conscientiousness, since the other traits have been shown to predict more specific aspects of job performance. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you. For the last question, please. Ms. Manalo?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So we all know that according to the report, inconsistent behavior may cause damage or have negative effects for others. So what would be the solution for this matter? Amototins.
Thank you, Ms. Manalo. Anyone who would like to answer? If not, I would be the one to answer that question.
Go ahead, Colby. I'm listening.
Okay, for the third question, changing of attitude or behavior is inevitable, especially that we are dealing with different situation experiences. Usually, managers are often unaware that their behaviors are being perceived as inconsistent. These inconsistencies may cause negative effects to their employees like fear, confusion, or trust issues that later on affects the interaction inside the workplace. The solution for that question is simple. As a manager, you should think before you say, mind your mood swings and impulses, be calm and not your emotion drive you to act and make decisions. That would be all. Thank you.
Add on to that, we have to
Yes.
control our emotion. We have to control our anger, even though that we sit under the fire. But if you are that of a manager or a supervisor, even that as an employee, we should know how to teach ourselves by way of applying the so-called discipline and respect to others. Do we understand each other?
Yes, sir. Noted,
Very
sir.
good. Proceed.
Now let's move on to the recapitulations by Ms. Hernaldo. Ms. Hernaldo? Where is Ms. Hernaldo?
Okay, please proceed to the next, please. We are going to go back again to the next.
So let's move to the next sharing the impression from the presenters. Let's have Ms. Moriso.
So, good morning, everyone. First, we want to thank the group for today for the very interactive discussion. We were all pleased with your topic for this Saturday's lecture that is really well organized. And we can really see how much effort you put into creating this. I also want to express my appreciation for this group for having an energizer of what they call Zumba, sponsored by Cocomelon. And like what the moderator said, Yannick Agina, to remind the childish side of everyone. I also want to compliment you on the first video related to the topic at the beginning that really mapped the presentation and generated our interest in your topic. I would like to also to give applause to the host. You really forgot to be nervous and let your enthusiasm shine through. Although there is some minor issues, we can still say that you're really a great communicator. I also like that this group really put things on the slides that were integral to the topic and that you thoroughly explained everything. The reporters really showed signs of in-depth research on their topic. They really tried their best to convey the information clearly and directly to the class. And I would like to say that the first reporter has a really great voice, just like what Sir Peswenya kaginaging hambalya, pidigid ka flight steward. And I like how all the reporter didn't just read from the screen. They engaged the audience more by talking to us. They even have a quick refresher every end of the topic. So your presentation really drew the audience in and held our attention for the whole duration. I really appreciate your presentation and the insights you provided. So on behalf of the class, please accept our thank you for a really great presentation. Congratulations for a really job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir Peswenya, I would like to go back to the recapitulation.
Go ahead.
Since Ms. Hernaldo is not present, she's not around, maybe her connection was cut. According to the extent knowledge shared by Sir Peswenya, personality indeed grows one's individual, and it also molds us internally the way we act and interact with others, which shows how we gain their respect. Then, he also highlighted that your grades, diplomas, nor honors are not important, and these are not the ones needed by an organization for you to get hired, but rather your personality and the way you showcase yourself and carry your profession with good moral and values is how you have a harmony in the workplace. Other reporters, would you like to add some?
Okay na, Tin.
Okay. Now let's proceed to the next part of the program, which is announcements. No more announcements.
Ms. Lian?
First, I would like to remind members of the class that we are done with topic number 3. Topic number 3, thank you very much. But however, please be informed that there will be a midterm quiz and midterm exam to be given to the members of the class. Okay, please, beginning Monday, maybe I can give you an information over the GC or group chat about the preparations for the midterm quiz and midterm examination, such as, for example, that you are required to take the midterm quiz and examination on this day. For example, there is a specific date and time for you to be able to take the said quiz and examination. You are to finish the said examination and quizzes, for example, for 10 minutes, right? So before 10 minutes, make sure that you submitted all of your answers, okay? Because in the event that you cannot submit the said exam and quizzes right after or before time or before 10 minutes, you did it after 10 minutes, then it will not be counted. No, there will be a lot of problems.
Okay,
there will be a information to be given to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. No more announcements? Group 3, Lian?
Okay, Natin.
Okay. Now let's move to the closing remarks to officially close the discussion for today. Ms. Leader, Ms. Dulman, go on.
Thank you. So at this closing instance, in behalf of my group, I would like to thank you all for your presence in today's discussion, most especially to Dr. J.J. Pisvania for guiding and giving our extended knowledge all throughout the discussion, and to our classmates who spoke and performed their part. Your active participation had made the discussion even more interactive and successful. So thank you so much, and God bless everyone.
Thank you so much, Group 3, and to the rest of the members of the team. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to say thank you very much for your active participation, for the involvement, for the contributions, for your cooperations and support in making this class a very successful, very dynamic, very productive, very effective, very engaging. To one and all, madamo gid nga salamat. God bless us all. Mabuhay, and class dismiss.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,